Hello. It's great to see everybody here today. I know it's been such a long time since I did a live, and there were many reasons because of that. But today I want to share with you a bit more about anxiety, a bit more about stress, and what it can do for you on a long-term level. The reason why I'm sharing this is because let's talk about this. Almost everybody thinks that it's okay to just carry on and go on living in a certain way and thinking that anxiety and stress is just going to hide away. It's not. Anxiety and stress doesn't hide away. It actually can be having long-term effects on your body system. So that's what I want to share with you today. Very few people truly understand that long-term anxiety and stress can have that impact. It's not the kind of stress that you might think, that you're running late for school or you're running to pick the kids up. There's bigger stresses than that as well, but these little stresses can be the big stresses eventually. So the stress becomes something that lingers around in your life. The stress becomes a background noise that you're thinking, I don't want to deal with this, but you sort of live with it. The stress that you're noticing is slowly building up and it becomes almost like I say, a normality. And I want to share this with you today because it's something that I know that people have suffered with. People I work with are suffering with anxiety every single day, but we are sort of accustomed now to say it's just one of those things and we'll put it aside. What I want to do is share with you that you don't have to just park it and put it aside. We've got to look at dealing with it today because the effects of anxiety and stress, as I already know too well, can be a lingering effect in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, and for all the people that are around you, and it can affect them for decades. So this is why it's so important that we don't let that anxiety and stress build up because that is what is happening. Okay. So look at what your body is doing. Look at the differences your body's going through. And it's about noticing the changes that are happening within you, with your emotions, the way you speak to people, the way you may be snappy at people. That's just a big buildup of the anxiety and stresses that you're carrying. Short tempered, we can get like that. It happens to most people I speak to when they start really telling me what's going on. When we go through sadness and grief and bereavement, what does that do to us? Look at the stress our body's going through just for that, not just for that, but building up inside of us. So I'm talking about the stress that can linger and it can make a long-term effect on your body system. So this is why I wanted to share this with you today. When you're stressed, your body releases the hormones, like the cortisol and adrenaline that, it's there. In short bursts, these hormones can be helpful, but on long term, we don't know what else is happening, do we? They sharpen your focus for sure, increases your energy levels, and prepares you to respond to challenges. So we are waiting for something to happen. We're like on alert almost. But when stress becomes long term, your body stays in this alert mode for longer periods of time than expected, than you would even expect. And it is actually designed for that. But it's like an alarm that keeps going off, but it never switches off in the end. And that's your body's alarm system going off. But short-term stresses are okay, little things that we can deal with. But when it comes to the bigger things, it's building up, it's building up, and it's building up. So this is why I wanted to come on here to share this with you. And over the last so many months, this is what I've been seeing with people. And families are getting sicker and more sick and more sick. But what can we do? We've got to take action. We have to take that responsibility on ourselves to take action before it gets too much and too big. The sooner you deal with it and nip it in the bud, the quicker the actual condition will be dealt with. You can deal with smaller bursts of anxiety and stress, whereas if it builds up, and then you're just struggling because health is going to be one of the things that's going to be taking an impact on. I'm talking about high blood pressure, increased heart rate, for example, the tension in your body, your shoulders, your neck, your muscles. You're going to have trouble sleeping, which is what I see people with quite regularly. And your immune system becomes quite weakened. And what's it going to do next? Your body is essentially telling you that it's burning out and it needs recovery time as well. So as much as we are human beings are designed to sort of work on some sort of alert, but not for long periods of time. What sort of stress is it causing for our brain? If we're dealing with long-term stress every single time, it's affecting not just our body system that we're physically working on, but what's it doing to our brain literally? So there's part of our brain that's responsible for fear. And when we're living in fear too often, the emotional responses are kicking off all the time. We're under chronic stress and it's becoming more and more reactive. You become more reactive to things as well. So we become sort of overwhelmed more easily than other times. So you become more sensitive to any words that are spoken or criticism. You become a little bit more sensitive to certain things that are being said. Whereas the small problems now will start to feel huge. And the brain is trying to function and trying to think about, how do I actually manage this? How do I actually cope? Okay. And if you've been through this, you'll know what I'm talking about. I've definitely been through this so many times, but little did I know in those times that this was happening to me and what was going to be the impact later in my life. And it was all innocent in some respect, but then it was happening to me and for me, some people say nowadays. But I'm just a big believer that if we can nip things in the bud, look at the problems that are small before they escalate, then we have less of a problem on that level. Hello, everybody. If you've got anything you want to ask me, please do so. I've got another 5 minutes or so on this live with you before I see to some clients. So I wanted to just jump on and share with you a little bit more on how our anxieties and stresses are making an impact on our health. Okay. So what I wanted to share with you next is that when we get so much stress and so much anxiety and so many traumas that are catching up with us, our memory is also going to suffer with that. And I hear women saying, is this menopause or what is this? But it could well be, as women, we have a lot of responsibilities. We have a lot of things to do in a day's work. And I know men do too, especially men who are now house husbands, let's just say, for example, and looking after the children. The women are going out to work. There's still these stresses here. So men have to adjust and change a lot because not naturally made to look after children or do housework, if you like. Whereas women, we're maternal. It's inbred within us. It's passed down generations that this is a woman's role and this is what women do. And what we're saying here right now is that when we've got to deal with a lot of things as women do, or even men staying at home looking after children, there's so much that we have to function on. We're making decisions, we're looking after the children, we have to make the right decisions for the children, making sure they're safe. We're looking at the planning of how we're doing everything each day, and the focus is so high. But also we're looking at emotionally, how are we regulated, and of course parts of our brain handles the decision making side, and it can affect us in different ways. When we have long-term stress, it can weaken those points of how we make our decisions and how much concentration we are having. Also, with this, we're looking at how organized are we when the stress is too high. We become less organized, a little bit scatty here or there, and not getting things done and putting things in places where they should be. So the organization isn't so well, managed. And like I said, the decisions are harder to make sometimes for people that are living with high stresses. And we're looking at we have like impulses, like we do things on impulse, but again, a little bit scatty on that as well. We're not really in control of everything that we'd like to be in control of. So what are the effects of stress? They're huge, aren't they? And yet we're living under these bigger, should I say, what's the word? Like bigger demands, that we have to look at where we are going, how we are doing things, and how we function. So we're also looking as part of our memory center that looks at chronic stress. And chronic stress can actually shrink that over time. If we have too much stress, our memories will suffer. And it's not always the menopause, even though women seem to say a lot of things are on menopause, but it could be lots of other things as well. Now, we're looking at how often we are thinking, oh, I can't think straight. I don't know how to do this. Oh, I forget things all the time. Where did I put my keys? Where did I put my phone? And all these sort of things come in. And the brain fog, of course, it feels like menopause as well. So the concentration is less and less and less because of the chronic stress we are going through. And don't forget, this is happening to men as well with the chronic stress. It's not just women. So emotional and mental effects are really huge. We become lack of decision making, so mentally we can't think properly. We become more irritable, feel edgy, on edge all the time. There's little things make spark us and may make us jump. We may become warriors when our stress levels are too high in chronic stress and long-term stress. We may feel disconnected with the world around us and people. We may not want to go out so often, and we might not want to go shopping, for example, or things on those sort of levels. It's lack of motivation, basically, is what I'm saying. And then the emotional exhaustion comes in. We become more fatigued because we're emotionally exhausted, we're mentally exhausted, and guess what? It has an effect on the physical body, and this is what I wanted to share with you today. So look at all of this. Just where is this all going? You see, physical symptoms that people don't realize are part of the stresses. A lot of people do know that when we have gut problems and it's digestive issues, and it could be chronic stress, yeah, we have flare-ups of things that are happening with the stomach. We can have flare-up of headaches, mild headaches to larger, bigger headaches, to migraines. You know, some people clench their jaws and grit and grind, and dentists will get frustrated with that, saying that you're under stress, we need to sort this out. A lot of people also, I know for a long time, for 25 years I've been doing this, back pain comes in, knee pain comes in, joint pains come in. And for a lot of people, again, that fatigue, which I've been through chronic fatigue syndrome myself for years, I know exactly what that feels like. So to avoid all this is why I'm here. I wanted to share this with you. So look at your appetite. Are you overeating? Because sometimes that can happen where we're emotionally attached to something, or we're emotionally going through a distressing time. We could overeat chocolate biscuits, cakes, for example, you know, the quick things that we can just quickly eat because we're craving something, but it's not necessarily the food that's going to help us, right? We need to get the right support and help to get us through this period of time. So these are some of the symptoms that I wanted to talk to you about on this day. So of course, our behavior changes with people around us, and sometimes people become more inward, sometimes people become more still and quiet and don't speak so much. That's withdrawal symptoms of wanting to speak to people or be around people. We may be overworking, that happens too, just to keep ourselves busy because we don't want to deal with the situation that's really going on. And sometimes it's good to be busy. It's not good to be busy all the time, as one of my cards actually do say. So we can be overworking, but we also can be in procrastination mode. We want to do something, but we're not getting it done. So that's the stress that's actually overwhelming us. So we get overwhelmed, okay? We can be reliant on other things such as coffee, sugars, alcohol. That happens too. And sometimes I know people who go through guilt. Oh my goodness. You know, these changes happen when we're under stress. So what can we do about this? So there is some good news here for you, by the way. And the good news is that we've got to look at calming down. Drinking chamomile tea does help. I have chamomile tea myself. Learn to relax and gently breathe. But I know that's not all the answers. The other answers could be that we need to heal something within us. You know, I've been on a healing journey for decades, and I know that I feel amazing. I'm in a great place myself, and I know I need to keep my stress levels down, and I've reduced certain things I need to be doing, but I need to keep an open space, a nice, comfortable space, a space that's mine, and that's also very, very useful. So the stress levels need to be reduced as much as possible. If you can't do it yourself, this is where I come in. I'm more than happy to have a call with you and to have a look at what stress levels are you going through and how can I help you with my unique AOT method that's been helping people for over 20 years. It's literally rebuilt me to where I am today. So we're looking at how we can strengthen you, because you are the most important person, really. And this is why I'm here, because I want to share this with you, because I've already been through all that and I've changed my life to where I am today. And that's because of the AOT method. So you don't have to go through this alone. If you can do some things yourself, like I've mentioned already, great, do that. But if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm struggling with this still, my nervous system isn't right, I'm jumping at the little things, big things, anything, I need some support, I need some help, I need to get on top of this quickly because I cannot leave this to escalate anymore. Well, the AAT method is absolutely perfect for that, actually. It's quick, it's long lasting, and you get lots of different things that come within the sessions as well. So if long-term stress and anxiety is affecting your life, right? If it's affecting your life, I want you to ask yourself, what can I do? Okay, as a qualified expert in anxiety, stress, and trauma, and somebody's lived through these experiences, I can share with you that I can take anybody on a powerful journey to help to get the steps right for them so that they can be free of that and journey on to an upward level and go, oh my God, this is the amazing life I've been waiting for a long time. And it's actually here. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. There are strategies, there is hope, and there is guidance from me. So as you can see, these are some of my awards. I've received 17 global awards for my work on emotional mental well-being, and recently came back from New York from the United Nations headquarters. I received recognition for my emotional mental well-being work for the last 20 plus years, 25 years plus. And I'm just honored to be here helping people. And you never know, because it might be you who might one day say, actually, Parveen, please could you help me? And we'll have a chat about that, and we'll work through different things, and we can have a call and we can just discuss where you're at and where I can help you to transition from that anxiety, stress, and trauma, which is holding you back, to having a free, fulfilling life. And that's all I want to share with you today. So I'm Dr. Parveen Smith, honorary doctorate through the United Nations Global Peace Council and United Nations honorary doctorate as well. So I just wanted to say I'm just overwhelmed, and I'm so grateful to everybody who I've been able to help and yet to help. Take care for now, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.